Alright guys, how you doing? Welcome to another episode of Motivation to Change podcast. My name's Sean, and today's guest we have a magician. He's been on Britain's Got Talent, Italy's Got Talent, and he has also got his own clothing brand. Please welcome Cameron Young.
How you doing? He's okay.
How's things? How's life treating you?
Mental, isn't it? Just the way the world is at the moment, just trying to find out what the new normality is, find out what we're allowed to do, what we're not allowed to do, and just trying to get used to being this new normality, trying to getting used to getting to shows back again, and
Yeah.
getting it's weird, isn't it?
It's quite strange. Right now, I'm in isolation.
Oh,
I've been in contact with someone that's got COVID. So I had to get tested and that. So I'm just waiting for the results. So it's all smashing.
not so good. Not so good. There's lots of people that are in the exact same boat as you are.
I know. It's I honestly hope that things start to pick back up and it dies down. But we can only hope.
Yeah, no, exactly. I've just been at an event at the weekend there. There was 60,000 people there. So you wonder how if there's going to be a COVID spike after that, or if we're all going to be okay.
Yeah, I know. And we'll be talking about that event pretty soon. But if people don't really know who you are, we'll just kind of go at the start. Just have a wee chat about yourself, where you were born, your early kind of childhood and stuff like that, and take it from there.
Not a problem. So we jump to start at the beginning.
Yes, why not?
So I'll try and give you a little bit of a roundup. So yeah, obviously everyone knows me as Cameron Young. I was brought up in a place called Fife in Scotland and went to two primary schools. First primary school, I was there for the first couple of years and then moved to another primary school when my parents moved house. I grew up with myself, my mum, my dad, and my little brother, even though now he is 6'7", and I don't even reach his shoulder. So it was a busy lifestyle. I've worked up in a very, very driven family. My dad, my uncle, cousins, we've all got our own businesses, and that's all I've known. So I've not just been, most people like adapt to having a business or adapt to working hard, but all I've known is you have to work hard to get somewhere in life. And if there's an opportunity not showing itself, you have to actually fight to get that opportunity, because you're going to be the only person that can actually get it for yourself. So every opportunity that I've actually had isn't by accident and it isn't by luck. I would say maybe, okay, that's a lie. One thing that we're probably going to talk about and touch on happened because of another thing that happened. But the first thing that happened would never have happened if I didn't work my ass off to get there. So I think that's every single thing that I've been brought up with has been driven. Going through high school, I was a very bullied kid, really bullied. I was quite a big boy at high school. I wasn't the smallest of guys, but I just didn't fit in. Don't know the reason why. I think, honestly, changing primary schools in primary three, and everyone already had their friend base, and I didn't really have that many friends when I moved to primary school, and then that just kind of tailored on to high school. And I still had some friends and a couple I still keep in touch with, but school wasn't for me. And I went to college again. I didn't gel in. There was something obviously about me. I was like the target. I wasn't the best looking guy in the world. I didn't hit, obviously, it just wasn't a good time. And then I fell in love with magic when I was probably about 8 years old. When I was 8, I got my first little magic set and I fell in love with it. And we went to York when I was 9, and I got a couple of magic tricks on this stall when I was in York, and I loved it. But I don't know, I started doing a couple of kids shows, even though I was still a kid, 9, 10, 11 years old, and I kind of fell away from it. And then I watched a TV show called Penn and Teller Fool Us. And when I watched that show called Penn and Teller Fool Us, that changed everything. And if you are a magician listening to this and you're someone that knows a lot about magic, you're probably going to be shocked with this. But first of all, my dad used to be a magician, more for the kids' entertainer, but apparently he was amazing. Everybody that's told me about it, he used to be amazing, but now he wouldn't do anything. But this was before I was born. But there was a magician on Penn and Teller that just changed it all for me. And it was a guy called Daniel Madison. Not necessarily a magician, but card techniques, sleight of hand. And when I was a 14-year-old boy, it just changed everything. It just made me realize, you know what, you could get a deck of cards and you could do the same thing. And that interests me. And I've always been fascinated by the card table, poker, people cheating, and the game poker, a game that's almost, I now play it weekly, maybe every couple of days I play poker. However, back then I always was fascinated by it. So when he done all this cheating, and now I know how 90% of it was done, but back then when I had not got a clue really about magic and I was learning, it just I literally that day picked up a deck of cards, and even I've got one right next to me. I just every time I'm anywhere, I have a deck of cards on me, and I'm always ready to perform. But I'm not one of these people that will perform if you ask me to. It takes a lot for me to perform. Obviously, if I'm booked, obviously I'm going to perform, but there has to be the right moment, because the amount of times I hear somebody say, now I know I'm not just a magician, there's lots more to my life. I'm a fiance, I've got a kid, I've got loads of things going on, but with the magic side of things is, if somebody asks me to do a trick and I do something and it's not the right moment or it's not the right location, the amount of times I'll say to somebody when they try and book me, they go, I hate magicians. And then I show them something, they go, wow, okay, I do want to book you. And I'm going, well, the reason you don't hate magicians, you hate a magician that you've seen, or you didn't not hate, but you didn't appreciate the magic that was shown to you. To me, that just says you were shown a really bad magic trick. You were shown a bad effect, or you've watched a TV special, or you've been to a kid's magician. I think magic's the most, there's so much stuff out there for magicians, but there's so many little people know about it. And I think the world of even television hasn't exposed, apart from like Paul Daniels, Wayne Dobson years ago, they haven't exposed it to magic, what it can be today, which Dynamo, yes, and Julius Dean, when they're getting so harsh criticism, at the end of the day, they're showing magic tricks and getting people to appreciate what we do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, not fully yourself, but when I was younger, I was not interested in magic. Growing up, I wasn't interested. And I had that picture of old men with top hats and that kind of stuff, and it never interested me. And when you were talking about Penn and Teller, I remember that was on, and it was maybe a seed, but it was something I maybe watched, but I never got right into it. But it was when I watched Dynamo, and that's what piqued my interest. And then I went back and watched Penn and Teller. I think Daniel Madison, that was a great performance. The first one I ever seen was Sean Farquhar's one.
Yeah. Well, Sean Farquhar, what he done on that day, what I make my living with is similar to his first act. So I literally make my living, and 90% of the people that book me see an effect that I perform. The effect that helped me win the Edinburgh Close-Up Magician of the Year several times over. It's an effect that now that I've performed it, I worked out the other day, I'm going to guess there maybe close to 50,000 times, because at every wedding, every fair, every show, every time I perform it, I could probably do it with my eyes closed. But not only that, you learn beats and moments. And I think that's what Sean Farquhar done. He learned so many beats and moments, and he just knew when the audience was going to do something. You know when they're going to react. You know when they're going to look this way. You know when they're going to look that way. And what his act was just perfection.
Yeah, it was really, really good to watch. I still watch it to this day. It's one of my favourite Phyllis moments. But it's amazing. Now, when just kind of going back a wee touch before you properly got right into magic, when you first got into it, you did mention that you did get bullied and stuff. Was that something that kind of helped during that period of time?
I would say yes and no, because when you first get into a deck of cards and sleight of hand, it's not easy. So if you try to show them something, they might not appreciate it as much because you've not got that sleight of hand move down to the way I have it just now.
Mhm.
But what I have noticed is when I was back there, to be honest, I didn't show many people magic tricks. I didn't have the confidence back then. People just kept knocking out at me. And I always say the 5 people you're around the most are the 5 people you're most like. And then obviously I started spreading my time around people that were pushing themselves forward rather than holding themselves back and being a bully. But I did notice that when my first video went viral, and I think it was 15, and it hit 3 million views overnight, all these bullies were messaging me, apologizing to me, trying to be my best friend. And I was like, you think there's a possibility I could become famous? This is what's going on in their mind. I didn't, obviously, and I'm well known for the magic, but now the fact that I'm out there, I'm known, I'm more popular than you guys on social media, for example, which to be honest doesn't mean that much to me. It's just quite cool that it happened. That's enough for them to go, you're cool now. And that just really hacked me off. So one of the bullies actually tried to book me for his wedding. And that I can assure you I'm not going to that wedding.
Yeah, no, definitely. Now, the video that went viral, was that the Ladbible?
Yes, Ladbible Australia, and another 15, 20 pages plus my own. So it already started off with about 300,000 views or 400,000 views on my own channel. And to be honest, how that came about was I had a friend of mine, and if people know me, see if they tell me I can't do something, that is my biggest pet hate. That's before somebody's even trying something. That's like someone saying, I'm going to lose 2 stone. And then someone going in front of them saying, you're never going to lose 2 stone, fatty. Here's some food. It's like a negative impact. And that's what bullies do. But someone said to me, and it always stuck in mind is, you're never going to do it. No chance are you going to get a viral video. I went, watch me. I'll get a viral video. And this was on the Tuesday. I remember it because I was at training. I used to play a sport called shinty, which a lot of people won't know, but it's like ice hockey on grass. It's a Scottish historic sport, and I used to play it, but it's very rough. I have stopped playing it now because I used to get a lot of hand injuries, and the last thing I want to do is hurt myself before a show. But when I used to play that, a guy came up to it, you'll never get a viral video. Your magic's not even that good. And that just annoyed me. And it's all I could think about for a couple of days. And it was that Sunday I got my first viral video. So
yeah, was that the way to go into it, but like 3 coins?
Yes, so it was a routine that's been known for years, where coins jump from one hand to the other, visibly, and it looks amazing. But it's my own routine. Over the years, I've polished it. So I would say, if you looked at then and you look at now, my routine now is probably 20 times better than that one. But it was a very nice, for my age, for being a 15-year-old kid, the sleight of hand involved, plus how clean it did look. Even looking back on it now, I can understand why it goes viral. Some of the comments not the nicest. Luckily, I have thick skin and I didn't read through them all. And when I was reading them all, I was getting my friends tagging me some of the funny ones. But it's just jealousy and people that are just behind a computer. There's so much negativity around in this world nowadays that it's like, you're only here once, so why not do what you want to do? And it just, to be honest, grates on me when people are just so negative. And when I actually set in my mind, for example, just before lockdown, I was doing marathons. I was doing a lot of marathons. I've lost a lot of weight, gained a little bit just now, but I'm actually in a phase where I'm happy. I'm not the biggest I've ever been. I'm not the lightest I've ever been. Right down the middle. But I got right down to the stage where I had like a 6-pack. I was 12 stone, and the reason why that came about was I told somebody I was going to lose weight, and I said I fancy getting running. And he says, what have you been doing? I went, well, I've been running 5Ks every day. I went, how long are you doing it? I went, I'm doing it in about 30 minutes, but I'm aiming to get below 20. And he laughed at me. And you can't get below 20. So in November 2019, I had a 19-minute 5K. It was the skinniest, the lightest I've ever been. I was sub 12 stone. But that, the first thing I done is I sent him a photo of my time. And then he went, well done. And that's all I got out of it was a well done. But I just hate when people go that, and hopefully that's changed his mindset. So the next time when I say I want to do something, he's not going to go, why you can't do that. He's going to go, okay, can't wait to see it. And that's kind of the mindset I want. So when magicians have said things to me, and magicians, to be honest, have been brutally nasty to me. I think I've been brought up where I don't know if I just entice it, but I don't know if it's the bullying, but I think people just get jealous. And even other magicians and stuff, they get jealous, and I think they all just seem to target me. And I don't know why. I don't know if I'm just an easy target. But what they don't realize is I've got the thickest skin going. That it doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't faze me in the slightest. It's just going to make me want to beat them, and I will beat them eventually. Maybe not overnight, but 6 months down the line, a year down the line, they'll notice. I just work quietly behind the scenes.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think it's probably because they know how probably talented that you are. And there's especially like magicians or anything.
Sorry, you are breaking up there. I didn't hear any of that.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so I think a lot of people, when they see that if somebody's talented and they know that they can do it, there is that jealousy where they will try and pick at you. But yeah, no, definitely. And I think, I didn't even know that you were that age, 15, when that went viral.
Yeah.
You looked a bit older. I remember I saying that a wee while ago. But no, that's amazing. That's amazing. So when you were doing the magic at 15, and that all happened, did that become a idea of that's what you wanted to do as a career, or was it just a hobby at that point?
It was 100% just a hobby. I was passionate about it, massively passionate about it, and I wasn't in it for money. I wasn't in it for anything else, just for the enjoyment of it. And the issue was at that point was I was actually taught a lesson years and years ago, and I still believe it. And I'll tell you that in a second, but I'll tell you this first. As soon as that viral video would have happened, I went, I need to make more content. So the first thing I did was go in and make more content. And that didn't go viral, and it annoyed me. It grated at me. Why is it not getting viral? But the first thing I was ever taught, so I joined Perth Magic Circle. I think I was like 14. I probably shouldn't have been a member there. I think you're supposed to be 18, but I joined Perth Magic Circle when I was 14 years old. And I sat down at a table. It's more the older generation that's at this. There's a couple of younger people, a couple of people my age, but it's more that mainly the older generation. And one man sat next to me, and he said to me, there's one thing I want you to take. If this is your first ever magic experience, this is the first time you're going to be learning from real magicians, pick 7 tricks. That's it. 7 effects for the environment you're going to work in, whether it's stage, whether it's close-up, whether it's anything. And spend the next 10 years learning these 7 tricks. Because if you learn 7 tricks a year, you'll forget about them and you won't be doing the same thing. But if you learn 7 tricks over the next 10 years, you'll be one of the best people in the world doing these 7 tricks. And I remember it, and I didn't kind of believe it at the time. And to be honest, 14 years old, you know what it's like, 14-year-old teenager, you know everything when you're a teenager, apparently. But that stuck with me. And then I realized, now, this was actually just last week, I was doing a wedding. And the guy asked me, how long have you been doing this? It's a quite quick question, and I worked out. And then when I was sitting in the car, because it was a wedding where they booked me for the drinks reception and the evening reception, which I do quite a lot of more of high-end events. And I was sitting in the car and I was just eating a sandwich, and I worked out, and I learned that coin trick when I was 14 and got my viral video when I was 15. And then I went through every single trick I was performing. And I performed about, I went to maybe 6 effects. Every single one of the effects I've done for 9 years. Minimum. And I went, wow. And I very rarely change my act for close-up because I know it's good. I know it's polished. I know it's sleek, and to add something into my close-up act. I remember listening to a guy called Dave Bonzo, which you'll know, a lot of the listeners won't know, that he only does 4 effects or 3 effects. I can't remember the exact number, but he just prolonged them. And I realized, you know what? It was right what that guy said to me. So now I'm about to work on a new stage show. But the stage show I'm about to build is going to be designed so it'll work now, but in 10 years' time, it's going to work then. So that's what I think a lot of magicians don't do. And it works with anything. If you're a motivational speaker, and you make a speech, don't just make that speech and then never say it again. Keep that speech and use it over and over and over again, because by the time you do it in 10 years' time, it'll be slightly different, it'll be tweaked, but it'll be 10 times better. And it'll be one of the best speeches ever heard because you've done 10 years of training on that.
Yeah, yeah. That's an amazing advice. Definitely. I recently watched Steve Della. I watched his lecture, and he's kind of similar. He's got one set with 5 tricks, and he's been doing it for 12 years, and
Yeah.
it's uh wine.
And I bet he's busier than most magicians.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And that's great advice right there. And I'm guessing, when did you start like doing your kind of gigs and starting to get that actual experience from like doing it friends and family and on camera to strangers?
So I think obviously I've done a few when I was really young, but the main one that I remember is I was at a golf course. A local golf course I was growing up at. I used to play golf. I still play golf, but not as much as I used to. I used to play golf all the time, and they booked me, and it was a really good fee. Like I was like 15 or 16 years old, and I was getting like £250 in like money, and I was like, wow, that's a big fee for being 15 years old. But the effect that I was performing back then, now that I look back, I had an amazing routine built. I never stuck with this routine. I don't know why. I probably will look at it again. And I performed this amazing routine. And imagine, so I'll paint the picture, and I got the reactions. Well, first of all, I did a trick with you. You'll know what it's called, but obviously, if there's non-magicians what listen to this, it's with an envelope. Someone finds a card, you put it into the deck of cards, and it appears inside an envelope. That's a really good effect. It's visual. The deck of cards actually transforms into the envelope, which is really nice. And I was performing that, but there was a routine that I performed where you got a deck of cards and the person got to shuffle the cards. Then they got to take out any card they want. You box up the cards and then they slide the card into the box. I put the box of cards back in my pocket. I'd reach into my wallet and their card that they've signed is in my wallet. And the routine was near enough impossible. The deck of cards could even be left on the table and their card was still in my wallet. And that routine was phenomenal. And right from then, I'd done that one Aberdeen show, which is the golf course, and it led into 7 shows. But I'm always someone that will try and fight for like more. So I got a phone call. This was after my second viral video from a person in Kirkcaldy. So Kirkcaldy's a place in Fife, and it was a local person. And I just won the Edinburgh Close-Up Magician of the Year in 2018. I literally just won it. So that had went viral. I just announced I'd won that. And then this girl, can't remember her name, I went and met her at an ice rink, of all places, but a partner played ice hockey. So we met up and we started chatting, and she was telling me all about this place in America. So it's not through Camp America, but it was very similar. But it wasn't a Camp America because it's a lot more prestigious. So it was your kids would probably have to spend $20,000 for your kids to go for 2 weeks. Like that kind of prestigious. Celebrities' children, multimillionaires' children only. And I was tempted. She told me all about this place, and the website was really cheesy. It didn't look very good. It was like proper American cheesiness. And then I got put in contact with a man called Josh, who became a friend actually. And he told me all about it, and I went, I think I'm going to take the plunge. And then I watched some videos on YouTube about it and started to see it, and I went, right. So at that time, I wasn't just a professional magician. I was actually working for my dad. This was back in 2018, and I believe I'd been working for him for about 3 or 4 years. The next day, I went into my dad. I was like, what would you say if I went to America? My dad's like, I need to look at it a business point of view. I was like, no, with my dad. He went, no, I need to look at it as a business point of view. And my mum just looked at me and said, you've already booked it, haven't you? And I'd already booked the flights and hotel, but my mum just knew. So I went across to America in June 2018, and I was there till the final night of the actual event was my birthday. So it was the 26th of August. And I was teaching kids, but there was one daughter, or one of the daughters that came up to the stand. Now, this is something that was phenomenal. And I mean, this was phenomenal. It was circus. So they had a circus. It was basically for the arts. So they had like acting, they had theatre shows, they were doing musicals, they had circus, they had so much going on. Proper high-end event. But they employed, I believe it was between 7 and 10 people to do circus. Myself as a magician, I was the only magician there. And how it worked is when the kids arrive on day one, they go around and they get to meet everything, and then they sign up for the classes they want to do. Kids were allowed to do, say, 6 classes. And what they would do is they'd have a lesson for an hour a day at all 6 classes, and they would just work a formula so they could go to them all. Circus got, on average, 70 kids doing circus per session. And a session lasted 3 weeks, and there was 3 sets of 3 weeks. I had a minimum of 130 students in all 3 sessions to myself.
Oof.
And the owner of the business couldn't believe it. He said he's never seen anything like that before, and they've been doing it for 30 years. So it got to a stage where when the camp was over, they literally offered me hand over fist money to go back the next year. Like, literally were offering me ridiculous money. But I had to make a business decision when I wanted to become a magician, and that's when I was like in my peak, when I was turning over a lot of money over here. I was growing my name over here. I was doing the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. I went, you know what, it's time for me not to do that. But it was an amazing experience. And one of the daughters that I was telling you about came across was a girl called Moxie. And I went, I recognise you. And it was Penn from Penn and Teller's daughter, Moxie Gillette. And I ended up spending 6 weeks with her, because she was booked for the 2 sessions, teaching her magic every day for 6 weeks. And I was supposed to divide my time so it would be like 10 per class, but I made sure Moxie got a lesson to herself or with one other girl or boy each day, depending on, I think it was phase 1, it was a boy that was really good at it. There was a girl in the phase 2 that was really good at the magic, and I would teach the magic and then help them develop it. And on the end of the 3 weeks, they'd have like a show, and they'd put it on for the parents. So the parents could come back, and if the kids were staying for the 3, 6, or 9, they'd either be picking their kids up that weekend, or they'd be spending some time with their kids between the 6 weeks, and they put on a show. So I had to help them get ready for magic shows. So we're doing some stuff that you would know what Snowstorm on Chinatown. That would be a great one to do. We've done that. We've done some predictions and mental effects. But obviously, these children are between 8 and 15 years old. So they're not, I was only 21 at the time when I was across there. So there's not much an age gap for me to mean like the 15, 16-year-olds that were finishing it off. So, but Moxie, I got her to do Snowstorm on Chinatown, and her mum and dad couldn't make the show. And her mum turned up 3 hours late. And to be honest, I just thought, you know what, why don't we open up the theatre again? She can perform it, she can record it, so she could show it to the family. So I met her mum, very interested in the same stuff as I was, golf, poker, many other different things. And Moxie performed Snowstorm in Chinatown. She done an amazing job. Basically, if anyone doesn't know what that is, it basically means she made snow appear. She took a bit of paper, she cut it up into a snowflake, she scrambled it up, put it in some water, and the next thing you know, using a fan, her hand made this multiple snowflakes. And it looks amazing, very magical. One of the first magic tricks I ever seen live. And what I didn't realize is she wasn't recording. She was actually on FaceTime to Penn from Penn and Teller. And after the act, Emily passed, which is her mum, passed me the phone and went, what do you think of this recording? And she passed me it, and it was Penn on the screen. And I started to say, I was like, hello. And he started having a conversation with me about her daughter, saying, oh, it was amazing. She's over the moon. How's she getting on? And I had that. It was like a parents' evening, but with Penn Gillette of Penn and Teller. And that was just a moment I will never forget. So since then, obviously, I became quite good friends with the family.
Oh, that's amazing. So that's and it would have been definitely a memory that you weren't expecting as well. And I think it's just one of the things that you do something in life and you never know what the payoff's going to be. And
I felt like it was meant to be.
yeah, no, definitely. And as old saying goes, everything happens for a reason. And I think that opportunity to go to America was definitely a rewarding one for you as well.
100%.
Definitely. Now, with everything going and with the magic and everything building up for you, did you have any other kind of goals, kind of round about 2017, 2018 towards the future of having like maybe, was it just close up or did you want to have your own show? Did you have much of what goals that you wanted to complete?
To be honest, I'd maybe skip further forward than that. I would probably skip forward to the end of September 2018 because, to be honest, I didn't have much performance time in 2017. But when I was in America, I was performing on stage in New York most nights. So I went from having no confidence to all the confidence in the world. And when I came home, basically, when I left America, the first year you were there, you didn't get paid a lot of money. And not only that, I ended up being a tech guy as well. So when I say tech, it was more like, they would class it as tech, but it was more like set builder. So I wasn't supposed to be doing that, but their set builders were very bad. And I'm not bad with a drill, and I'm happy to use my hands. And then, so I would do my shift, which was 7 in the morning till 7 at night. And then I'd go and start with set building until about 9, 10 o'clock at night. Then I'd hit the pub and I'd have 2 hours and I'd properly go for it. And that was my day. And see, by the end of it, I was falling asleep. I'd be like, literally, it'd be the week before it was ending. And I'd go for a nap on my break, which was only for an hour a day on a 17-hour shift half time. And I would, next thing you know, I woke up one day, it was like 9 hours later. I woke up like 3 in the morning. I don't even know. I was supposed to be doing stuff and I just missed it all. But anyway, it was full on. But aside from that, it was just absolutely mental. So afterwards, I got my paycheck, and when I looked at it, I probably worked at about 10 pence an hour if I was lucky for work, because there were so many. I think I worked at it on like 2,000 hours or something ridiculous. Maybe more than that, sorry, but it was like ridiculous amount of hours compared to what I got. I walked away with like $2,000, some for a whole summer. So it's not a lot of money, but I've done it for the experience, the learning, what I got out of it. What I've got out of it now, trust me, it was worth more than the $2,000. You've seen some of the stuff I've done on my Facebook. Even if you saw the post I put up today, that came out of what happened there. So I had the opportunity. I said, right, I've got $2,000 here. Plus I had a little bit of savings, maybe like £1,000. So together that's maybe £2,800, something like that, £2,700 when you add it all together. And I went, well, I can either go and travel, and I'd always fancied going to LA, Chicago, maybe finish off in Vegas and fly home. So that's what I told my family I was going to do. But the decision I made 2 weeks before it was I actually found out. So this finished on the 26th. I was flying back on the 30th of August. On the 1st of September and the 2nd of September, there was the Edinburgh wedding fair. So it was a wedding fair in Edinburgh. And they didn't have a magician at that time. And it was going to cost me about £800 to be there. And I took the decision to fly home after 2 days of traveling through the wedding fair. And that's when all the gigs started. And that's when I went, you know what, there's a living to be made here. I came home, surprised the family. They were over the moon that they saw me. First thing I did was went to my grandparents. Hadn't seen them in 3 months. It was amazing to see them, give them a hug. But yeah, it was like it was meant to be. I think everything in life is like, there's some things meant to be, some things not so meant to be. But there is some things you go, this surely shouldn't have happened to my life without this happening. Obviously, something was telling me that I should have went there.
Yeah.
Like if that phone call never happened with that random girl that I don't have a clue who she even is again, that I met at the ice rink, that told me to go to America, then I met that guy called Josh who sent me to America. I've done my American experience, met Penn and Teller. I've now been to Vegas twice, about to be 3 times to spend time with them. That all came from a meeting in an ice rink in Fife. It's just insane. So that's. But then from there on in, I decided, and then I booked out a theatre show early 2019. So it was so yeah, when I came home, the first thing I did was I booked out a place called the Rothis Halls. I believe it's between 600 and 800 seats. So 600 800 tickets. We sold it out to a brand new stage show I've never done. It was good. It wasn't the best thing I think I could ever do. A lot of technical faults. Not my fault. Using someone else's tech guys never the easiest. A lot of the effects I hadn't had a lot of time with, but you'll never know until you do it. My snowstorm in Steinertown, I have a special chair. You'll know what I mean by that. It didn't work so well. So lots of technical things that could have went better, but I got 5 standing ovations on my first ever show. And I mean, you can't ask more than that. And since then, I've sold out the Fringe, sold out a couple other shows. So there's loads of different things. I don't actually know what the next step is. I'm currently writing a show, which I've just booked a theatre for a couple of days ago, which I'm announcing in a couple of weeks' time. Local, literally around the corner from where I'm sitting right now. 500 tickets that will be only. I'm doing one night at the moment, unless it sells out within like 2 or 3 days, which is a good chance around this area. But I'm doing 500 tickets. It's going to be insane. It's going to be a brand new show, so everything's going to be new. Maybe one trick the same. That is it. But yeah,
amazing. And what doing some shows and stuff? What do you, well, one or two questions. What do you think? What is the better preference of doing like stage or like a normal close-up gig? And what experience did you benefit out of kind of doing close-up? But what did you learn from going on stage?
right. So to start off with, like with close up, that has always been my passion. The only issue is that when it becomes your job, you start to become less passionate about something. So that's what I've noticed. So for example, if I'm playing about with deck of cards every day, and then I go out and perform, so that's why I like the fact that I'm only performing 6 or 7 tricks, because the effects that I'm not performing, they're my hobby. So I keep, when I learn new stuff, it's my hobby. But obviously, I'm not saying that that's all I do. That's just some of the stuff I do. But that's the way I would see it. And then transitioning into the theatre style show, I've realised that I'm not meant for doing anything like a holiday park or anything like that, because people aren't paying to see you, they're paying to have a night out. When I do a theatre show, when people are paying to see me, you've already got them kind of the palm of your hand before you begin. And as long as you're good, you're going to have a good show. As long as you entertain them, you're going to have a good show. So that's been good fun doing the Rothes Halls and a few other theatres that I've done, with the Edinburgh Fringe as well, selling that out. For me, I think close up, when I walk around parlour, etc., well, when I just walk around doing drinks receptions, corporate events, they're easy. I could turn up with just a deck of cards and know I could smash it. And that's not me boasting, it's just experience. It's knowing what to say, it's knowing when to say it, but that's just come down to experience. Stage shows, I've got a bit more experience than most, but I'm still learning. And I've realised there's things that I haven't done in life. So that's what I'm about to do over the next year, maybe the next 10, 20 years, probably know. But what I'm now focusing on and spending all my energy on, apart from obviously my clothing, branding, everything else I do, is this stage show that I'm developing. But I'm studying acting, speech, motivational talking. I'm studying David Copperfield. I'm studying, they always say, so this is one thing I would say out there, and it works for your podcast as well, is if your dream's not big enough, then what's the point? So if you're, for example, if my dream for close-up was to be the same as Joe Bloggs that lives around the corner, then just need to learn a few tricks, get out there and do it. But if my dream for stage magic, I might not be able to do the effects that David Copperfield does, but if I could perform them as well as he would perform them, I'm not saying I will be able to ever, but if that's what I strive to be, I could be one of the best magicians in the world.
Yeah.
And that's the way I'm looking at it, because I've watched David Copperfield. There's some things that he's done is absolutely phenomenal. A couple of things that not so much, but wow, his show, I've seen it in Vegas twice. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. And even for a magician, you kind of work out how most of it's done. And some of the effects are even published in the magic world, but you won't see it done better. He does 3 shows a day, 7 days a week. He's doing 21 shows a week. That's what you call stage time. You're lucky if most magicians get that a year. If you're lucky. You're lucky if I get that every 5 years sometimes, when I'm doing big stage theatre shows, should I say. I do a lot of stage shows, but maybe not for the ideal audience. My ideal audience is in a theatre that they've bought and paid tickets for.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've done a bit of research in David Copperfield and seen how many shows he does a year, and it's just, where does he get days off? It's ridiculous. So it is. It's so many shows. But yeah, and the advice you gave as well, we always dream big, and don't kind of dream small. I think is like really solid advice. Now the next point I want to get onto, is you're doing well with the magic, close up, like stage, the fringe, and then you decide to go on to Britain's Got Talent.
Yeah.
What was the reason behind wanting to do that, and what was the experience like?
So I'm a little fanboy of Britain's Got Talent, always have been, because for me, seeing somebody that's not necessarily a nobody, but not very well known, and turning into a superstar, I think that's amazing. And I think the show, the concept is absolutely fantastic. I'm not going to share too much just now. I will be one day, on how I actually managed to get on the show. I'm about to create my own course, training course, pushing people forward. And I will explain exactly how I got on the show in this course. However, it wasn't an accident that I got on the show. And in 2020, when I actually done the show, I was told no, I'm not allowed on the show. And I found a way, I found the gap, and I snuck in. That's all everybody needs to know just now. But I wasn't supposed to be there. They did not want me on the show. The person, basically, there was one person I was supposed to be dealing with. He said no just because he didn't think that, which wasn't one of them, but another act was good enough. But I actually found out that the main producer was having coffee near where I stayed. And I jumped in my car, I drove straight to that place, and I bumped into her deliberately. And then I blagged my way in, showed her something. She went, I've not got time. I went, look, give me 10 seconds. And I think I spent 2.5 hours with her.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I got given a space in the show. They gave me 3 days notice of when I was actually on. And then I was there. I had 2 shows to do, drove down during the night, got there at 7 in the morning. And I didn't actually get to perform on stage till 11 at night. I was knackered. I do not remember much of it. But I do remember getting really good feedback from David Williams, Ant and Deck, and I even got a hug off Deck at the end of it. He was like, amazing, well done, you done really good, in my ear. And it was just, things like that just don't happen. But that's the thing. See if somebody else had done this. Not everybody, but most people get told no. No doesn't mean no. It just means not now, find a way around it. For example, during lockdown, I lost obviously a lot of shows, like a lot of people did. And I start a clothing brand. Things happen, mistakes happen. So you have to find your way around it. It's just problem solving. And magicians aren't. I listen to Chris Kenner. Chris Kenner, if you don't know who he is, he's basically David Copperfield's wingman, basically. He's the guy that helps him out. He's the guy that's on the stage. He's project manager, basically. And he says, no, we're not creative. We're problem solvers. And when you think about it, that's the case. You are just a problem solver. But think about that in every aspect of your life. How can you solve that problem? Oh, I've gotten so much weight. What's your problem? Right, you're going to solve the problem because you're going to eat 500 less calories a day. Done. Right, okay, what about this? I can't get that stage show. Why not? Because it's fully booked. Well, the problem solving. Book another theatre. Or find the day that you can do and book it. There's so much negativity in this world, and people are not brought up to work hard. They're brought up to work easy. And that's why people don't get as far as they should do in life.
Yeah. And I think what you just said as well on blagging your way onto Britain's Got Talent of who you are, and that is you don't like getting told no. So if you can't do it, you'll try and do any other way to get around it and actually do it.
I hate the word can't. I absolutely hate it. It's just, you can. You always can. Like, for example, I might not be able to just now, but I will do one day. Someone said to me, right? I want you to deadlift 300 kilograms. I might not be able to do it now, but I'll make sure in 4 years' time, if I want to, I'm not saying I'm going to just do it because you tell me to. But say, for example, I really want to have a show in Vegas, which I don't know if I do, I don't know if I don't. So that's not something I would push for just now. I'd find a way of doing it. I know what my goals are just now, and I set goals all the time. So I'm fighting for the goals. Now I have some micro goals, I have some big goals, and I have some huge goals. So the huge goals are the ones that I'm like driving for, but I need to hit these micros, then hit the macro, then hit the main goals. So it's getting there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, going into 2020, um, I've seen that you were going to be a really busy guy. I think 100 bookings.
More than
Uh,
that, triple that.
and then all of a sudden, it went from that to that.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was
what?
seven. I think I was close to 300 bookings because I was sitting with an average of 7 per week. So it was, if you add the 7 times 52, there's your 300. But again, I don't know the exact. That's 350, but I don't know the exact number. But it was close to 300. But I had about a month from hell, just wedding couples, and obviously I'm having to give them sympathy that obviously their wedding's getting postponed, cancelled, and a lot of breakups happening and things. But what they don't realize is every single thing they were cancelling. One, I was losing financial income that I'd spent 2 years fighting my ass off to get in, losing TV shows. Like I was doing another couple of big TV shows, which I won't mention because I'm hoping still to do them, but I was signed up for them. I lost the semi-final. I wasn't allowed to do the semi-final of Britain's Got Talent because COVID hit, and I was into the semi-finals. There was about 20 different things that just went against me, and it all happened in like a month. And I was low. I was like in the lowest place I think I've ever been.
Yeah, I think it was a shock to everyone. Like everybody just expected would just last a couple of weeks, and then it got to the point where we realised. Well, for me, I don't know about yourself, probably a lot of people as well. I don't really watch the news, but during March, April, and May, when Boris Johnson and Nicola Sturgeon were on, you had to put on the telly to see what was happening.
Yeah.
And I think it was scary because you didn't know how long this was going to last. And what was your mentality at that point of having no work and you're in lockdown and right, what do I do now?
So I was one of the unlucky ones because I invested, I think I worked out it was about £32,000 into myself in 2019. So all the profits I'd earned in 2019, all invested into high-end wedding fairs. And I was taking like stands out like 4 times the size I needed to, but I was making a name for myself. And I was booking into theatres, I was traveling the world getting lessons and training, and I was doing more than people see on Facebook. I was doing more than people see on Twitter. I do a lot behind the scenes. My life is so busy. And the reason why I literally made nothing, I wasn't even taking money from the business. I was actually making money doing an actual job. So I took on a 3-day a week job. I was surviving on that 3-day a week job, which was hard because it wasn't a lot of money. And I was investing everything. So I may be making it a weekend, but back in 2019, I was maybe turning over £1,200, for example. I'd spend all £1,200 of that pounds in marketing, flyers, leaflets, this, everything you can imagine. None of it went in my pocket. Paid for my fuel. That was everything. Or hotels or flight tickets if I had to go to something or anything like that. And I was living off of maybe £200 a week on my day job. I managed to build it up so I had a massive income in 2020. I won't name numbers, but wow, it was when I actually had it all signed contracts, and obviously I could have got corporate events during the week and everything. So this number could have went up, and I literally done zero live shows in 2020. I didn't do a thing. I didn't know. Sorry, that's a lie. I did do January, February, March time. So I had a little bit of a financial backing from then. But in 2019, where I was going with this is because I didn't show massive profit, because I spent it all and legitimately spent it all on investing in myself, because if you don't invest in yourself, you can't grow. That's the way I saw it. And the same with business. You earn money, you spend it to grow. I've done the same thing. I had a business coach. I still got a business coach, and we were treating the magic as a business. We weren't treating it as just doing magic tricks. We were treating it as a business. And when lockdown hit, the government refused to help me because I didn't show my profits. When I did show them, but they just weren't high because I was investing so heavily. But I could have easily showed them the 300 signed contracts that were going to add up to multiple, and I mean multiple, six figures of revenue coming into my business. And obviously that wasn't what they were after. They were after what I've done in the past. But I had signed contracts, but then I had to make a decision. Now, obviously, if anybody was changing their dates, say for example, it was a wedding, but it was obviously a lot of all corporates just got cancelled. If it was a wedding, I asked them, you know what, I will hold the date. I won't charge you anything for changing the date. Let's just move you if I can. Obviously, other people have done the same. It was just difficult because there must have been at least 100 a day weddings cancelled. Minimum just cancelled. But that was before they decided they were going to change around. They just went, you know what, let's just not do it just now. So they got cancelled. So that, imagine I was doing £500 a wedding, 600, 700, even up to £1,200 a wedding. Times 500, times 100, that's a lot of money. Not only that, it's a lot of work, a lot of experiences, a lot of connections that I've never got to make. And then you had maybe 100 that were uncertain, that were changing dates, or I couldn't do because I was already booked for somebody else's wedding. And then you had the other 100 that have been moved, but they're spread out over the next 5 years. So I've went from 300 events in 1 year where I was going to be working with 7, 8, 9 weddings. And bear in mind, I was doing 2 on a Friday, 2 on a Saturday, maybe 2 on a Sunday. I was in holiday parks on a Wednesday, not my ideal client, but it was a business. I was doing what the business needed because we had so many plans for 2022, 2023, 2024. We'd already scaled this out. That it was a nightmare, and it was heartbreaking because I put all this effort in. And yeah, a lot of magicians said, oh, it was taking me 10 years. But I'm like, in the 10 years, you probably haven't invested what I invested in a year. Because if I just kept all the profits, and looking back now, I wish I just kept the profits, I would have had 40 grand in 1 year, which is an amazing wage for a 20-year-old, 21-year-old, 22-year-old. That's an amazing wage. I would have had that money in. And then not only that, in 2020, the government would have paid me a really good wage as well. So I'd probably still be on 25, 30 grand with the government just for sitting on my ass doing nothing. But because I actually worked my ass off, pushed myself forward, the government went and kind of fighted against me. So, hey, I've just been one of the very unlucky ones that slipped through the gaps.
Yeah. And here's a question for you. Putting all that hard work in, and I probably know what the answer is going to be anyway, but it'd be good to see your thoughts. But putting in all that hard work to then get that kind of rejection of kind of COVID and stuff like that, did you have any doubts on putting in so much hard work and investing so much hard work into yourself?
I needed something that would work whether there was COVID or there was no COVID. That's where Motivational Clothing came about. And so clothing brand, I'm not going to go too much into it, but if anyone wants to check it out, go to motivationalclothing.com. It is a clothing brand that I've come up with to get people motivated. We're about to put a motivational quotes range, and we've just done a big Birmingham NEC event with 60,000 people, and it's just been insane. So I needed something different. I couldn't do the magic, and I couldn't rely on the magic. So that's the issue I'm having, because it's the only thing I care about that much to spend 60 hours a week working on. So that's why at the moment I'm looking at stage shows and other things that I'm working on. I'm still doing a lot of weddings and stuff. Nothing compared to what I should have been doing beforehand. But yeah, imagine everyone that's listening to this, imagine me putting this in your shoes. Imagine you just worked your ass off and had it all taken away from you to the stage where you're at the lowest point you've ever been at. Imagine like going for a breakup, you've just been cheated on by loads of different times, and then you go and 2 weeks later find another relationship, the same thing happens again a year down the line. It would kill you. It would break you inside. So in my head, I'm going, is it worth it? Now, it probably is. But I don't want to I know I can get bookings in. I'm not boasting. I'm not being thinking. I know I can get work. I needed gigs for January. I made a few phone calls this morning. I've now got 5 bookings for next January. I've got an income next January. I'm happy with that. I can get the work in, but what I don't want to do is hurt myself again. I don't want to rely on it that much that if COVID did hit, that I would be screwed basically. Plus, we don't really know where we're going. We don't know. I don't think there'll ever be another lockdown, but it's still quite dangerous just now. For example, today I had a bit of a sore throat. I was doing 2 COVID tests. I'm fine, but you get nervous with it all. I was at an event at the weekend where there was lots of people there. Could have caught it. Like it's a hard question to answer, but yeah, I lost a lot of motivation. I tried Zoom shows during lockdown, and wow, that was not for me. I like a reaction, and yes, you can get reactions on Zoom, maybe one-on-one, one-on-two, but if everyone's on mute and you're seeing them react, it's not the same. I did do a lot of Zoom shows. I pretty much took over the Scouts in Scotland, the Scouts, Beavers, Cubs, 4 times a week. I was doing a Zoom show, but I wasn't advertised for like a week or 2 that I was doing them, and then I gave up advertising because I was like, I don't actually really want to be doing them, but I needed income. So the Beavers, Scouts, and Cubs was like enough just to keep me going. It wasn't turning in like I've got friends that have honestly thrived through lockdown because their Zoom shows are like they're getting like 9 a day, 10 a day, charging like £100 a show, and they're working away with £1,000 a day. But they wouldn't even get that before lockdown for doing like their shows in a month. So it's like I've got a friend that honestly smashed it, but I wasn't interested. And to be honest, if anything, I decided to take a break from magic. So I stopped learning. I've only just started learning in the past week. I still do the same stuff I was doing before lockdown, but my new show, which I'm excited to be releasing soon, I'm not going to say any names or anything of what it's called, but you'll see on my Facebook page, Cameron Young Magic, is the poster's nearly designed, everything's nearly designed, and the show's working on it, but it's more about wonder. It's more like a storytelling show. So I'm going to be telling a story and doing a trick with it, and it's part of my life. So basically, it's like a biography on stage, but with things that actually happen. So there will be actors on stage pretending to be bullies, and then we'll do something with that. There's going to be concepts that I've not seen done before. There's going to be like, it's going to open up with silent magic to music. It's going to be amazing. And it might not be amazing the first time you see it, the 10th time you see it, but by the time I've been performing it for the next 10 years, I plan on it being one of the best shows in the UK. But I'm developing it and I'm putting all the foundations in place. And it doesn't matter whether it's a business, whether it's a show, whether it's no matter what you do in life, I'm always a big believer in putting the foundations. You have to just have all the foundations in place.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it sounds awesome. I'll be keeping an eye on it, definitely.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Definitely. Now, obviously, I don't know how much you want to get into it, but do you want to touch on the new company that, as I say, is like during lockdown and stuff? I know that you had some goals, and having your own clothing line was one of your goals, and you thought obviously it was the best time to start it.
Yeah, so motivational clothing. I won't go too much detail, but basically, when I lost all my motivation, I wanted to do something different. I always fancied my own clothing brand. Why wouldn't you want to wear the clothes that you designed? I was shocked that nobody owned it. I really was shocked, and I've taken it, I've patented it, I've trademarked it. It's all definitely mine now. Anyone tries to scam it off, it's definitely not going to happen. It's definitely mine, but we're still working on concepts, we're still working on designs, we're trying to link a bit to do with the magic on it. We're doing a range with the magic and stuff, but I'm doing everything myself, and it's quite a lot of work, and it's a learning experience. We're just on an event there in Birmingham, NEC. We've got 500 new clients. We absolutely smashed it. I had a team of 10 of us down there working on it. 60,000 people event for Arnold Schwarzenegger event. It was phenomenal. And I mean, it was phenomenal. So much fun. And the company's growing. It's new. I'm learning. Like, for example, I've just managed to bag a meeting with a very, very prestigious man, ex multiple billionaire. who runs a clothing brand, and I've got a meeting with him in the next week. So he's going to help me develop motivational clothing. Some people have offered to already buy it from me. I had an offer last week, which I refused. But obviously, I don't know if motivational clothing is going to be my be all and end all, but I absolutely love what I'm doing. We are currently mainly on the fitness aspect. We are going to move in. We're going to try and make it more niche. So there's going to be a sports range, but there's also going to be a business range. So it's motivational quotes for business. We're going to make it unique. I'm also looking at doing some magic tricks involved in clothing, and that'll be like another range, which I'm not going to name it because the range is actually the same name as my new show. So there's so much. To be honest, I'm in the stage of the reason why I'm not talking about it too much is because what's there is there. It's a clothing brand, it's a fitness clothing brand. I've got amazing models in it. I've got a team basically that work with us, which are amazing, and we're getting quite a lot of sales. And definitely should check out motivationalclothing.com. All the support is appreciated. However, we are developing and making it better. And when I know exactly what the new concept is going to be and what direction we're definitely going in, again, building the right foundations, then I will be telling the world about it. But I don't want to give any false information, which I think I might give, because when I've had this meeting with this guy in a few weeks' time, when I've got my business coach involved and I've got all this involved, that's when we can grow it to be a scalable company, which you might see in every single gym in the UK soon. It's just we're not there yet, and I don't know if that's the way we're going to go, or whether we're going to do this, or whether we're going to do that, or whether we're just going to keep doing the events like I did at the weekend day, where we absolutely smashed it. But it's currently just you're better being out there than not being out there. So when they say make a YouTube video, you might not be happy with the finished result, but just put it out there, because it's better having something there than not. It's kind of the same with this motivational clothing, but the clothing quality is amazing. I've invested 5 figures into testing the clothing, and now what we have is phenomenal. The clothing, like wearing hoodies, are just so comfy, and everything's just amazing. However, that took a lot of testing. And when we were at this event in Birmingham, folk were trying them on and go, wow. Like, we have a sleeveless hoodie. It's sold out on day one. It's a hoodie with no sleeves, pretty much what it says, sleeveless hoodie, but it's light, it's comfy, it's a nice cotton feel. It's one that I don't know anybody else that does it, and we sold out on day one because it's just such a good quality. But that took me testing. I went through 7 or 8 different types and testing just on that one product. And now it's time we've got the products in place, we've got the foundations in place, we've got the branding in place. It's now just finding out what's the next step. I don't want to spend 2 years of my life growing something that's not going to grow. I want to know where the target's going to be. And if I'm not hitting, for example, I should be doing this by March. If I'm not there by March, I go, why?
Yeah.
So that's pretty much touching on that. And then my goals, I've got loads of goals. Loads of goals. I've got, I'm driven by goals. And
Yeah.
I've got.
I was going to get to that point of everything that you've done so far. What's next for yourself?
So I'm growing motivational clothing on the side. Obviously, I just became a dad during lockdown. So I've got little Phoebe, who is my everything. She's my absolute everything. She's the most important thing to me at the moment. But we still have to keep going. It's a business. So I'm creating my new show, which will be advertised. I was hoping to give you an exclusive today, but it's something that I'm working on. Unfortunately, I can't. I did mention it to you the other day. I've not been given the legal rights yet to be able to give an exclusive, but there will be something getting announced it could be tomorrow, or it could be in 3 weeks' time. I'll be announcing it. I'm just waiting on the yes. When I get the yes, then I can announce it. But that'll be getting announced to my social media, Facebook page and stuff, which will be happening very, very soon, within the next, say, 2 months. I've got my new show, which is coming, which is a new development. I'm aiming to do the Edinburgh Fringe Festival 2022. And yeah, to be honest, I want to get more close-up gigs again, just to be safe. And to be honest, in my head, it's I can either do a close-up gig or I can go and see my granddad. That's what I see in my head. I'm not going to go to the other close-up gig and then go see my granddad, because I don't want to pass it to him. Yeah. And he's already got asbestosis, but he is my hero. And if anything happened to him, I wouldn't be able to forgive myself. So, like, I've just done that event in Birmingham. I'm not going near them for 10 days minimum, because I'll FaceTime them, I'll see them, I'll chat to them. But right now, a wee bit of tickly throat. It's quite sore. I know it's not good because I've done a test, but you never know in 2 days' time it could adapt into that. I don't know. I don't know how this whole works. I don't think the NHS even really knows how this entire thing works. We're just keeping each other safe, I think, and it's just family means more to me than 20 quid in my pocket. It's just yeah. And then I think that's pretty much it, because I'm about to do my planning. Every year I kind of set myself a plan, and this last year I've not really done plans. I knew I was going to be a dad, and that meant more to me. So I was planning on becoming a dad rather than anything. But now I've just bought my new office, so that what we're in is actually my new office. I'll take you off the blur. Just I know most people won't see this, but you'll be able to see it. So there's a big backdrop to my right, which has now got units in front of it. Just now we're making it, and got loads of things in the background. My Paul Daniels poster stuff. But this is a big unit goes right along there, so that's the recording studio along at the end. I've just taken this office on, as I say. We've got all my tools up this end, so we've got a toolbox for when I make props. Behind here we've got some storage, and we've got more storage, and we've got my magic collection, which is all of that wall, and then we've got cameras and lighting, and it's like a big film studio in here because I'm about to work on not necessarily YouTube, might do YouTube, I'm not decided yet, but I'm definitely going to start putting more videos and recordings out on Instagram and social media.
Awesome. Well, Cameron, this interview has been amazing. I just want to finish off on one thing. I've done it with all the other guests, and it's a wee bit of fun. So I've got a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
I'd like to know your thoughts. So, if you were to go out to a restaurant, where would it be? So it could be any restaurant at any place in the world. What would you eat? And who would be three people that you would sit down with? These three people can be family, they could be celebrities, they could be dead or alive, cartoons. Fire away.
That's a hard one. So I like my food. I would go to, there's a restaurant I went to in Tenerife, and it's Indian/Chinese restaurant, and I cannot remember the life of me what it was. You go up these big steps to get there, in Playa de las America, and it's amazing. The food in there is unbelievable. So I would go there. I would have a chicken tikka masala because I like my chicken tikka masala, and I'll break it into two parts. The last one. So if I think if I was sitting with family, it would be my daughter, my fiance, and my granddad. They would be my three that I would sit down with. But even though I do have 4 grandparents, by the way, and I love them all to bits, just me and my granddad is just, we've got a connection. But if I was to go with celebrities, I would sit down with David Blaine, because he's just a hero. It could be a bit awkward, it could be a bit weird, but he's just a hero of mine. I think I would sit down with David Copperfield, because I haven't sat down and had a meal with him, even though I have spent time with Penn and Della. I've spent a lot of time with Penn and Della, so I'm probably not going to choose them, even though they were amazing. And then I think I would probably go with someone that, if it was dead or alive, I think the Robin Williams. I'm a huge fan of Robin Williams, and if it was alive, I'd probably like to meet John Cena. Not even a big wrestling fan, but I just quite like John Cena. So there's I know it was a long-winded answer, but I like questions like that, and I like putting thought into them. I've always been a big fan of Robin Williams, and one of the speeches he made, and it's a shame what happened to him. And every one of his movies I enjoy. He's an absolute hero.
Fantastic. Well, Cameron, it's been amazing, and I want to thank you so much for coming on. I know you're a busy guy, so I just want to say thanks very much. And where can people find you and find Motivational Clothing?
So you can find Motivational Clothing at motivationalclothing.com. It's brand new, so please check out, have a look at it. I'm not saying you have to buy anything, but buy something. Also, if you want to find me on social media, you've got me as Cameron Young Magic. So it's Cameron Young Magician. So you can find me as Cameron Young Magic on Facebook. Instagram, I'm about to post a lot on there. I've not posted a lot on. And you've also got my website, which is cameronyoung.co.uk, I think it is, or .com. I think it's .co.uk. It's cameronyoung.co.uk. You should check that out. It's actually about to get a lot of work done. I've actually got a meeting tomorrow about getting lots of work done on my website. We're about to upgrade it big style, start targeting some big cities and getting me traveling the world again, which will be cool. So, but if you are after post up magician, then give me a call. But nah, to be honest, if you want to see any of my videos, check me out, Cameron Young. Better go on my Facebook page, click on the videos button and scroll down to near the bottom and then work your way up to the top. That's where you'd enjoy it more because you'd see the evolution in myself. You'd see me go fat, then thin, then fat, then thin. And you'd also get to see lots of magic tricks.
Awesome. Well, Cameron, we'll wrap this up. And as I say, once again, thanks very much for coming on. And in fact, before we leave, with everything that you've said towards what the business side, magic, the clothing, hard work, what would be the main piece of advice that you would give someone?
Never give up.
Awesome.
Simple as that. Never give up.
Awesome. Amazing. Right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Tune in next week for another episode. Until then, take care, guys.